much. Albert!
I bought you some tea, Master Munch.
Thank you very much, Albert. Much appreciated. Thank you. Oh! 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 What is that? Did you sugar it?
No, sir.
Did you use non-organic milk?
I'm sorry. I failed you. I know what this means. It means that you're going to have terrible bowel syndrome for the rest of the day.
Just can't get the staff, honestly. Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of my guide to FM, where today we are going to be focusing on staff. Now, staff get a hard rub of the green. It takes a little bit of time and no one really wants to do it, but I can guarantee you that this will improve your game and improve the performances of your players on the pitch and the development absolutely no end. Now, I'm going to have a few examples of staff in this episode. So what I've done is I've loaded up my Billericay save on my 30-year career, which you should definitely go and watch. We are currently in the Vanarama National League. Now, in my mind, there are two different styles of coaching that you can go for, and it depends on what club you've taken over. It's very similar to what I discussed in the last episode when in terms of creating your manager. If you're going to go with a coaching manager, you'll tend to be in the lower leagues because you need to spend more time on the coaching field to maximise the ability and the potential for development in your players. And on the flip side, if you go more of a management style, that's because you are at a big club. So, how can I tell if my staff are any good or not? To do that, literally go over to the left-hand side on the menu and click Staff, and then you will get this screen. This is the screen you want to operate out of in every single department when it comes to staff. It gives you a great overview of everything. So here you've got your coaching staff, recruitment team, and medical staff. We're going to focus on the coaching staff to start with, as this is the most important side of things when it comes to developing your players. The best way to improve your players is to obviously have better coaches. Better coaches equals better development equals better improvement. However, you cannot simply go for a team like Billericay and go and get the best world-class staff ever. It's not going to happen because they're going to be mopped up by the big boys like Barcelona, Liverpool, City, United, etc, etc. So what you need to do for this is be quite clever in how you do it. Teams lower down the division have less spots for coaches. So, if you have less spots for coaches, the best thing to do is to get coaches that have a wide range of attributes. By that I mean, similar to the way that you would in your manager, you would allocate yourself points in attacking, defending, technical and tactical to try and spread it out so that you get an even spread of skill no matter what you do. It's the same when you do it with your staff. These graphs here are the most important thing to look at because these give you an idea of how good you are in relation to every other team in your division. The green bar up here is the highest average, the lowest one is the blue one down here. So as you can tell, I am top in attacking, I'm top in mental, and I'm top in management and technical. This doesn't mean that I have world-class staff in that. This basically means that I have the best average in terms of the division as a whole. So if you want to have a closer look at the actual attributes of your coaches, you can do that if you go to the overview section and go into coaching team. If you look at the coaching team here, then it highlights the stats that you have. Attributes. Oh god, people are not going to like that. It highlights the best attributes of all of your staff. So you can tell here that there are a number of things that staff are broken down to. We'll click on my assistant manager, Mark Hughes. This chap here, Mark Hughes, who is my assistant manager, is essentially quite a good assistant manager for this level. By that I mean he has quite well-rounded coaching attributes, which are all those here. So again, similar to players, they're all rated out of 20. Attacking, defending, fitness, all this are all pretty solid for this, but he doesn't stand out in anything. And that is because I want me and him to do the bulk of work when it comes to training. And then what we can do is we can get in specialist coaches if there's a certain area that I do feel needs to be improved and it's a strength of the team. Each different coaching role has different attributes that you want to be focused on for assistant. For example, assistant manager is going to need good man management, good judging player ability, and judging player potential, as well as all the coaching attributes. I've done pretty well with Mark Hughes here because his mentals are actually very good. He's got good adaptability, good determination, good level of discipline, which makes him a very decent coach. And judging player ability and potential at this level is very high. You want this to be high when it's your assistant manager because when we come on to star ratings, the star ratings are based upon your coaches or your staff's ability to judge players. Very similar to the way that a scout would. That is also how you do it. So when your team reports come in and it says you've got a load of 4-star, 5-stars, but you're not getting a lot of good results. The reason for that could well be that your assistant manager or the coach or whoever it is that you're getting to give you the team report is an idiot and doesn't have very good attributes in this region. So if you look at my coaching team in general, then you can see here that I've tried to kind of widespread everything a little bit in terms of what's good and what isn't. There are a few regions I've specifically focused on so I could get a nice branch of everything. So I've got Ross Redmond, who's very good at defending and good at the management side of things as well as the mental side of things. But then I've got Derek Lyle, who's very good at attacking and technical. So he's good for your possession, your shooting, all this, that and the other. And of course I've got Stephen Hunter, who's in specifically as a fitness coach. All of them are quite good at working with young players with the exception of Ross Redmond, who's at an 8. And that is because I have a very young squad. If you want people that are going to be a little bit more elderly statesmen, you probably want to go more on a management side of things because then they're going to command more respect. The youth players are going to like the coaches a bit more because they're a bit more buddy-buddy and this, that and the other. So what I'm trying to say is that you've got me and Mark Hughes, the assistant manager, doing the bulk of work in terms of taking a lot of the sessions, and then you've got these guys sort of specialising a little bit in these regions. It's very odd to do that in the lower league. I've been here a few years, so it's easy for me just to add staff, and I'll show you how to do that now as well. I would like another coach, because obviously we could do with getting the fitness up, or potentially another goalkeeping coach to lessen the load on the goalkeeping coach that I've got at the moment, and that will get that up to the highest average. So to do that, you simply go to this icon here, and then you've got a number of options. You can increase assistant manager wages, increase coaches' wages, place an advert so people will come and they'll go, oh, I would like that job, this, that and the other. But the one you want to go to is coaches allowed. You can do it for either your Billericay Town, which is the actual club, or the under-23s. I always go to Billericay Town, and then all you simply say is something along the lines of, it depends on what you want. If you want specialisation, or if you want to reduce the workload on staff, or you want to improve the performance, all of them have the same thing. I had a feeling this would happen. I'm in financial trouble because when I arrived here we were in financial trouble. I'm slowly making it better. Coaching is massively important if you're in a smaller club, and the amount of coaches that you have is also very important because every coach should be treated a bit like a new signing. That is the way that I look at it. Signing staff is as important as signing players. Without the good staff, your players will not get any better and they will not improve. And if they don't improve, then your team will not improve. And there's nothing better than taking a young gem, coaching him up all the way through, and then making him a superstar of your team at the end. That is pretty much every football manager's ambition. We love that. And coaching is essential to that. So if you want that, you'll never guess it if you don't focus on your staff. Underneath here as well is a little layout of all the staff that you... Underneath here is a layout of the staff and the availability of jobs that you have. So I've got 1 out of 1 manager, which is me, 1 out of 1 assistant manager, which is obviously Mark Hughes. I haven't got a head of youth development at the moment because I don't feel I need one particularly at the moment in time, and I'm also trying to save money within the club. And I've got 4 out of 4 coaches. Now a lot of people kind of say, well, how can you actually tell how good it is? You might have the best staff in the world, but the teams still aren't developing. A lot of that can be down to the coaching assignments that you set people. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to do that right now. The best way to figure out how good you are or how good your training is to go to training, ironically, and then go to the end where it says coaches. Click on coaches, and what you can do here is go to edit coach assignments, and this opens up. And it looks a bit daunting to start with, but bear with me, when you get hold of it, it's quite easy and straightforward. So what I was saying earlier is that obviously you've got me and Mark Hughes sharing off a lot of the coaching responsibilities, etc. That's not actually necessarily true, because at the moment I've also got my under-23s manager who can be part of your coaching team. He is also taking a number for me as well, so he still gets involved with the first team. This is allowing me at the moment to let Mark Hughes focus a bit more on tactical possession. What these are is essentially what training sessions you're going to take, and down here gives you the overall rating of how good that training session is going to be and what the workload is like. Obviously, the more people you put on it, the lighter it will be, and the more that teams may well get out of it, the less pressure there is on staff. At this level, we're not particularly great. We're around about average with 2.5s around the board. The reason for that being, obviously, the staff aren't necessarily brilliant, but more importantly is also the training facilities aren't state of the art. If the training facilities are better, that will also nearly increase your training by a star, half a star, which will make the big difference when you get to those sort of like top echelons of football. State-of-the-art facilities and everything are absolutely crucial, but we will get onto that another time when it comes to board meetings, etc., etc., and how to influence them. This is an example of what I'm talking about. So if I was to take Mark Hughes off of the tactical one here, it suddenly goes down to heavy because it's just me teaching that, and it also dropped to 2.5 stars. I put him back on, goes up to 3, and it's average. If I was to say to him, oh, okay, by the way, do attacking tactical, goes down to 2.5 stars, and then it also goes up to light when it comes to the attacking technical here. Do you see what I'm saying? So it's a bit of a balancing act. When you get enough staff in, what eventually you'll have, or you'd like to have, is you'll have all of these at around about 4.5 stars, and that's when you know you've got an absolutely banging coaching team. What I've done now is I've changed the new save at Paris Saint-Germain that we started in the last episode. This is going to be like my tester save as an example of what it's like to play with a big club. So I'm sure if I go to staff here, you can see automatically Paris Saint-Germain have the best staff in the league. Not the best scouting, which is ironic, but the best coaching staff, best medical staff, best everything. When I come to a team and I see this automatically, I sit there and I think, well, that must be quite good. It doesn't mean that they're the best in the world. It just means that they're the best in the league. So if I go to overview and have a look at the coaching team, we can figure out some of the people that aren't so good. You can tell automatically there, the goalkeeping coach that we've got is second to none. He's 20, 20 and 20. You cannot get any better than that. But there's automatically a coach here I'm looking at called Leroy Etcheld, and none of these are really standing out to me. He's solid all around the board, but because we're at Paris Saint-Germain, I don't need people that stand out around the board. What I need specialised coaches that can focus on one specific thing all the way through. That is really going to improve my players. This guy's going to do nothing to help me improve my players if he's in a one-on-one. He is literally at the moment a bit more of a facilitator to let the other specialists go out and actually train people up properly. I say properly, just better. You can do this at any point in the game, but it's always pretty good to do at the start, is if you see a coach like this that I don't particularly rate, I don't rate Leroy Etcheld, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to contract, and you can offer them a mutual termination. Well, this is essentially offering to the coach, look, I don't think you're very good, you probably don't like the fact that I don't think you're very good, what do I have to pay for you to get out of here? You offer him the mutual termination, and then he will agree to do it for £1.1 million, which is an absolute load of nonsense. But at the same time, I'm going to take it because I can, because I am PSG and I can do what I want. You can tell now that that has not affected in the slightest that, which just goes to show he wasn't particularly that good. Now, you can tell here, I've got 5 out of 9 coaching spots available. With the 5 out of 9 coaching spot means I have another ability for 4 coaches. I might ask to see if I can get another one. I can't. Sometimes that option to get more coaches is not allowed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the training over here, and I'm going to go to coaches, edit coaching assignments. Let's see what could do with a bit of improvement. First off, I'm looking at fitness, and that's because this guy has not been assigned to it. So if I take him off and then I put him onto it, he is now assigned. But there is a lot of room for improvement in the defending technical and the attacking technical, and maybe a little bit more on the goalkeeping. Even though I've got the best goalkeeping coach in the world, he is only A, one man, and B, he's got quite a hard workload because he is sharing it out. Again, this does not allow for specialisation. So what we could really do is get better people everywhere. I'm looking at my assistant manager as well, Arnaud Michel. He looks pretty good and everything. I could probably work with him on technical because he's got 16 technical, so that's fine. Let's not mess about with it too much. This is actually not me rebuilding the squad. This is me just trying to show you an example. So to go and get new staff, the best way to do it is very similar to the way that you would with a player. You don't scout staff, but you calculate and you find them through the staff search button. These guys will usually be filtered out as long as you have an assistant manager for people that are interested in coming to your club. Very similar to the way that it is with players. Now, I'm going to go to new search. Oh, I want to get myself a coach. Let's go for a new goalkeeping coach, okay? Because obviously we wanted to get one to help out Spinelli, who is obviously the best goalkeeping coach around, but he needs a helping hand. So for a goalkeeping coach, I just go to staff role, click down, obviously look in coaching, and then just narrow it down. Very similar to with the player position. You can also choose whether he's employed or what his national world reputation is. I always go for any, because just because they've got a really good reputation doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be any better to someone who is younger and is just coming into the game. It's a bit like when you have new gens and old players. Just because a new gen is new to the game and hasn't got a great reputation doesn't mean that he couldn't be as good as James McLean. That's not a good example. Think of a good player. I feel bad now about saying about James McLean. He's probably going to come and snap me. So what you can do then is go to attributes. Now this is the most important part, because this is where you narrow down the wheat from the chaff. And what you want to do then is you can either pick it yourself, or to get yourself going, go hire key attributes for role. So what this does is it basically knocks down what you need for each individual role. So if you were to go for assistant manager, it will click these two because that is what the game bases it on. I then try and put in some technicals as well to get myself a better assistant manager. And what you can also do then is go into coach roles. Let's go goalkeeping coach and then just go overall because you want it to be really good overall. And these are all the things that it bases you on. So normally you'd think, oh, okay, well, it's just shot stopping, handling, distribution. The mental attributes make the difference as well. If they've got good determination, good motivating level of discipline, they're going to get more out of the players than they would if they were the best one in the world. But a bit like Mario Balotelli, he could be the best player in the world, but he'd rather just sit around and eat chips all day. I don't say about Mario Balotelli, I'm just using him as an example. I'd never not Super Mario, he's been amazing in my lead save. Go watch it. Shameless plugs for days. So what we're going to do here is very similar to the way you would with attributes for a player. You can literally just go to condition for 6 extra attributes. Let's go 15, okay, and let's see what comes up. Oh, it's filtered down. Right, so let's have a look. Is there anyone better than 15? Can we go up to 16? So go back to pick. Up to 16. Is anyone there? There you go. Right, so these are the guys I'm really interested in then. So you've got Rui Barbosa, who is at Wolves. We can go for him, and he looks very good. He's got 18s around the board. He's over 16 and everything else. It looks very, very solid. You can go to contract, and you can approach a coach or anything at any point and buy them out of the contract. It will tell you what the compensation is down there. 325k. Let's go finalise just because we can, because we're PSG. And then you've also got free agents, and these are brilliant. He looks better than Barbosa, so I'm going to go for this guy, Hugo Oliveira. Let's go approach to sign. I'm not going to mess about with like wages and stuff because that's frank. I don't care at the moment, so we'll go with that. And that is how you get your goalkeeping coach in. And you can do this for anything. So if it's a coach, you can just go to a normal coach, take these off, clear it, and then click on whatever coach you want to do. Be careful when you're picking the roles. If you want a coach that's very good at fitness, but you do also kind of want the ability for him to do something else other than fitness, don't select fitness coach. Because what will happen is very similar to goalkeeping coaches. They are a specialised coach, and therefore goalkeeping coaches cannot teach any other type of attribute. Same with fitness. If you get in a fitness coach, he will not be able to train in defending, in tactical, in possession, in anything. He will literally be just there for fitness. So my little kind of way around it is I always find someone that's really good at fitness. So let's go for that. 18, but put coach down, and funnily enough, what you'll end up having is you'll have someone like this that can double up and do a bit of everything. So let's go for him, for example, as well. Fabio Macchiarelli. We'll get him in. Exit talks. Bang. Should have him in a few days as well. Lovely stuff. This is all very similar when it comes to your scouts, etc., etc. We'll quickly run through those as well, because scouting is massively important. I will do a separate video on scouting as a whole anyway, but follow a very simple strategic thing of the same thing. Look here, see what it is that you need. I've got no technical director, which is fine. I don't want anyone trading on my territory. You've got no chief data analyst, which I probably would end up getting, but scouts are the most important part of the game. If you want to do signings, which everyone wants to do in Football Manager, you need good scouts. Otherwise, you cannot trust your scout reports, and that is massively important. It's the same for medical staff as well. Just focus on the physiotherapy and sports science, etc., etc., and you will be absolutely golden. And so that is essentially it. Obviously, the coaches haven't come in, but when they do, like I said, just go into your training, go to coaches, and then just allocate them. They'll probably be allocated stuff already, but what you can do is you can hover over their names here. It'll show you what their good attributes are, and from there you can work out what it is that you want them to focus on. Ideally, and I have been sort of semi-sad enough to do this, get a bit of paper or a pad. I have a Football Manager pad, and write down what it is that you've signed them for. So when you pick them up, you know exactly where it is that you want to put them, and you will you will just save yourself time. So just do something along those lines. Staff is incredibly important. You have to focus on it. If you don't focus on it, you're making your life a lot harder than it needs to be. And I always make sure that I am the one that handles staff coming in and staff coming out. Make sure that is something you do for yourself, and you can do that. I believe it's in the staff and responsibilities. So if you go to the overview here, you should be able to set yourself up to actually be able to do it. So if you go to staff, there you go. You can actually do it. And recruiting directors, recruiting first team staff recruitment, make sure that you keep it yourself. Do not trust anyone else to do it. This is your team, and you want to surround yourself with your own backroom staff. Do not let the AI do it for you. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you can tune in next week for another episode of My Guide to FM20. Let me know in the comment section what it is that you would like me to focus on for you. I have an idea, but obviously I'm happy to hear what you guys are sort of struggling with or what you have questions with. Let me know in the comment section. Thank you for watching. Please do like, share and subscribe, and until I see you for another episode, of my FM20 guide or any of the other series on the channel. Stay cool.